We are live.
Awesome. I am Chloe.
And I'm Sandy.
Oh no, I forgot how to do it.
I'm sorry.
Like, was I supposed to introduce Sandy too?
No, you weren't.
Anyways, it's WordStitch.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. I'm distracted because my dog is like soaking wet right now because she's been in the sprinklers. And like soaking wet dog. Oh my gosh, here she is. Oh, will you let me pick you up and show everybody how like wet you are? Oh my gosh. We're covered in wet. We're covered in wet. Yeah. Soaking wet dog is super happy and a menace.
I have cats, so I have a slightly different experience with water and pets.
So Malcolm, my husband, comes in the other day. He's like ridden his bike around the lake. He's all wet. I'm like, you can't come in here. Like, take your shoes off in the laundry room, socks off. And Alicia, it is a Havanese. You hear that noise? So that's the dog cleaning herself and drying herself against our walls, which we like painted new. And my husband's like, I don't understand. Dog can track in as much as she wants, but like I can't. Fairness. He has a point. He has a point. Anyways, so I'm gonna try to focus.
You can't explain that to dogs.
You
should theoretically be able to explain that to husbands.
Very big theoretical right there.
Yeah.
And this has just inspired our first prompt.
Oh dear.
In any case, Chloe, what are you working on today?
I am working on my Christmas romance.
Nice. And I am finishing the like final, I shouldn't say final because this is not like the final time I'll ever look at this, but the last revisions on my book 2 of my like YA series. I have cut like 24,000 words from that or something.
Awesome.
It's like the size of a novella.
Yeah, I'm literally also doing revisions on a book that I published over a year ago. So yeah, there's no end to revisions.
Revisions are hard.
That was what you needed to cut, right? There was a 20 or was it 30 you needed to cut?
It was some huge amount, and I'm down to like I think I still need to reduce 1,300 words total.
That's nothing. Though. That's nothing. That's like removing compound sentences.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. Let's get this and out of here. Just put a period there. Perfect. And there's one word down. That's nothing.
Probably I'm the kind of person who writes things like very, very often enough that I could reduce it by like 50 words, just like right there. Just take out some
and
stuff like
1,300 words. That's like, I don't like this sentence. I didn't need this
sentence. Yeah. So I'm
one sentence in every scene. Like, get that one out. We're good. That is the expendable sentence right there.
Exactly. So I'm very pleased with that. So hopefully you guys are working on something today that you can be productive with, and I think we are ready for our first.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Here's our prompt. Oh.
Wet dog. There is some weird science behind wet dog that perhaps I'll go into later, depending on how things go. But for now, we are going to write for the next 10 minutes. So we will see you guys at 1:15.
We are back.
Yes.
My revisions are going well. What about you, Chloe?
Let me see. I don't. So I told you I was using Y-Writer. It's got a little thing on the screen. It tells me today's total, and I can't figure out how to update it. Do I have to do that? That's really irritating. Yeah, apparently I got 236. I mean, like, it's one of those, like, I had to, like, flip to the next scene. The way that Y-Writer works is, like, it's like a pop-up window that you do your typing in. You don't have to, but, like, that's the easiest way to do it. And there's actually, like, a previous and a next button at the bottom of the screen so you can navigate between scenes without having to, like, go back to the main window, which is really nice. But also, apparently, that's the only way to update today's total. It does have the word count for this. Excuse me. It does have the word count for the scene, and it has the word count for the chapter, and those update live. But the total today does not update live.
So it's a little complex, and
but like it's one of those
I'm
things that's like a non-matter. You know, like I mean, in the whole scheme of things, how much does it actually matter what today's word count is?
I don't know. For me, revision is always about reducing words, not like adding them. So it would be how many did I take out?
Yes, but like as you like when you hit the end of the scene, you'll know how many when you go to the next scene. So that's actually kind of nice. Like as I was, and this is not a sales pitch to you in any way. I'm not telling you to switch to Y-Writer, but like, so I had to read through all of this. This is a story that I wrote, I started 2 years ago, and I've got 50,000 words of it. So obviously I had to like reread everything before I went into it. I also have to do like massive edits, but I just wanted to like reread it, and then if I caught like any typos or just like little things, I fixed them. But I do have to like completely rewrite a few scenes. But it was nice because like each time I jumped to a new scene, I could see that count go from like negative 36 to negative 42 to negative 217. And that like actually made that progress feel like it was going better, like seeing it in like chunks like that. So yeah, so it's actually like there were definitely some nice features with it.
I mean, I don't have time to switch to another thing. I think that would throw off my entire like workflow. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but I'm glad that you found a program that works for you.
Right. I'm going to see how this goes. I just downloaded Papyrus, but that one, there's like a free and a paid version of it, and I haven't really gotten into it yet. But apparently, like all of the character sheets and stuff like that are only with the paid version. And it is, I think it's $15 a month. And that is, yeah, that's astronomical to me. So.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, that's.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I'm sure that it's cheaper if you buy it by the year or whatever, but like, that's like $200 a year. That's insane.
Well, I appreciate that like writers need tools, and I think for me stuff like Y-Writer and Scrivener are really good for that, right? Because Y-Writer is free, isn't it? It's open source.
Y-Writer is completely free. And another nice thing I will say with Y-Writer is that if you have a computer programming background, it's all open. Like this is really, if you have that, I don't have that knowledge base, but if you have that knowledge base, like you can do whatever you want with it. It's just that like it's set up so that that's the only way you can change a lot of things, which is irritating if you don't know how to do it.
So that's I think we should call out Herb Noel with us. He has a computer programming background, and he's also working on Christmas Romance right now.
I saw that.
So this is totally your opportunity to like go mess with a program with like your computer programming genius.
Yeah, I've been thinking about like sending it to James and being like, hey, can you just like fix this one thing for me? Like there's literally like one thing I want changed on it and I'd be happy with it. There are like 5 other things that I would love to be changed, but there's one thing that I'm like, if I could just like fix the column on this one tab, game changer.
Then life would be beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, we have people drafting today. We have people revising and outlining and character arcing. So
Yeah.
we're using like all the tools.
And
everything.
Spence just said that Y Writer has been around for a while. Yes, they are up to, this is number 7 that he's on with it. I used it at like Y Writer 4, but Y Writer 7, it looks exactly the same. He's never going to make this damn thing pretty. But I've been really impressed with the features in Y Writer 7. It has an audio, like it will read. Yeah, all of his numbers are screwed up, so it's going to take you to Y Writer 5, and they're actually on 7. But it actually has the text to audio thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I don't know how most programs are. It's absolutely the like Windows voice, and you can have like Windows man voice or Windows lady voice. So it's not beautiful to listen to, but I know a lot of people like to do that. So it was cool that was going on.
And I mean, on the upside, at least Y Writer is still updating, like that Scrivener update that we've been waiting for forever is still cool.
Yeah, I downloaded the beta for it like 2 years ago. Yeah. And it kind of sucked. Like there was something that I was like, this is really irritating that they did this. And also it did not, if I remember correctly, it did not take the Scrivener 2 files. Like if you were in the middle of writing something on Scrivener 2, you cannot transfer it to Scrivener 3. There's a term for that I'm blanking on. It's a real basic term, but that's convert. It doesn't convert Scrivener 2 files to Scrivener 3 files as of the last time I looked at the update.
And the thing is, like at some point, like Scrivener's going to have to update. Or like even people like me where I'm like, I love Scrivener. I'm never going to switch from Scrivener. I need my Scrivener. Like there will be a point where it's just like not compatible with stuff anymore.
Yeah.
So then like if a program like Papyrus or like Y Writer can give me an import from Scrivener, then, and you wouldn't think that would be hard to do, because Scrivener is just like metadata and text documents. It's not. Yeah. It's not that complicated. Like, come on, Literature and Latte. Get with us.
Yeah, Alicia just made that comment about waiting for it to be on Android. If I'm doing something where I know I'm going to be having to like write on my phone, I either like last summer, I literally like I had to write in the Microsoft Word because I write big stuff, and I've talked about this before, but I don't like using Google Docs because it gets funky at the big stuff, and I don't like splitting scenes up. I know people are totally fine with that. I'm not one of them. So I'm not judging anybody who does, but like I had to write in Microsoft Word last year because I was on my phone most of the time. And then in previous years, like I used the Wattpad app and just didn't publish because that at least worked pretty well on my phone. So yeah, it's definitely a problem with Scrivener that they are behind the times, and also that they are weird with Microsoft or with Windows. They don't like they're completely different on Windows than they are on Apple.
And I will admit, like I'm looking at Papyrus right now. It's kind of beautiful from like the screen.
Pretty. It's pretty. It's just like the one thing that like really got my attention on it was like the character sheets, and they're not. You have to pay for those. But I am still going to fiddle with it because apparently it has it does ebook and paperback.
Oh, really?
Conversion. I don't know how good the quality is on it, so I'm gonna mess with it because I've got a few books that I need to do conversions onto, and so I'll see how it goes, and I'll definitely like let people know how I feel about that. But yeah, so I'm definitely going to give Papyrus a try, but I feel like I'm not going to be happy with it as like my main writing thing. Like I'm not going to see enough of a difference between that and Scrivener to do it. It is $25 though.
Oh, it's 25 after. Okay, more on this later. We should write.
Yeah, we'll keep going. I can talk. I guess like we have this conversation all the time, but you know what? I feel like this is one of those conversations that you can have all the time.
We totally can. Yes.
And it's universal for everyone, no matter where they are in their writing career. Okay, so we are going to write for the next minutes. The prompt is your character uses updated technology. We'll see you guys at 9 of the hour because we're starting with
Okay, we are back. Oh, we have lots of thoughts on Scrivener.
How's your editing going?
I'm reading. It's good. I'm at like the very last sentence. Like
Nice.
I have the very last sentence, and then I have like one poem to write or something. So
Oh, Hannah is drawing a map right now.
I don't know. I should probably just.
I have drawn one map. And unfortunately, like, it's just a project that I had this shelf for a while that I fully intend on like really delving into eventually. And it just wasn't happening now. But I loved drawing that map, and I never got it fully finished. Like, it was something where I was doing it in a bunch of layers, and I got several of the layers finished, but not all of them. But I'm excited to one day get back to that.
Oh my gosh, I love maps too, but I can't draw, so I have to use like software to do it. And there's a fantastic software program that I spent way too much time on like 3 years ago. Looks like we've got people getting some words done and stuff. So yay, and hello to those of you who just joined.
Oh, I am the exact opposite, and I suck at software. So I hand drew and hand painted my map, and then all of the layers on it are why am I blanking on it? Transfer paper, not transfer paper. What the hell's it called? The see-through paper. Why am I completely blanking on this? This is a term thing. I forgot that.
Tracing paper?
No? Yes, tracing paper. Yep. I did all the other layers with tracing paper.
Yes. So let's see what our comments here about Scrivener are. So Natalie, is it, do you pronounce the H in your name? Natalie and Romer? I don't know.
Every time I've seen it, it has been no, which of course is not speaking for her, but in the meantime, I'm going to say Natalie.
Okay, so useful advice. There's a Facebook group if you need to get to know how to use Scrivener. Here's some other little useful advice. Pro Writing Aid works. So I'm enough of a geek. I've never really used much of the Scrivener tutorials, but God, I love that program. And there are so many things. Like, you can constantly uncover something new. Let's see. Do we have other stuff on this? Silent H. The Silent H. Okay, so we can say it totally. Thank you.
I read all of the tutorials with Scrivener. I'm not good with that the free form part of it. Like, I want character sheets to actually be character sheets. Like, I want like blanks to fill in. Yeah, it doesn't, I don't like it all being a bunch of blank pages. So that is my issue with Scrivener. And like metadata, I will never use no matter what I have. And I know it's great for some people. It's just not how I write. I think probably being a fast writer doesn't help with that either. Like, by the time I would need it, it probably, like, I wouldn't have cataloged it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm the kind of the opposite, because I love the metadata. I love how it like syncs to things like Eon Timeline, and I love the blanks because I love that you can create your own templates. So like, character sheets have never really worked for me unless they're conflict oriented. Like, I need basic stuff like what's their eye color, because that's the kind of thing you forget. But other than that, I need, like, a character sheet never covers the right stuff to me, because it never really gets you to like, what specific thing is this character worried about right this second. It's always like, what's their favorite food, and like, what kind of like backstory do they have? And I'm less worried about that.
I will put a caveat on that. When I say like a character sheet, the Y Writer has it broken down to, you've got short name, full name, alternatives, and description, and tags. Like, there are tags on Y Writer if you choose to use them. And then there's a bio tab, a note tab, a goals tab, and then a picture option. So it is mostly blank stuff, but also there's like quick access stuff on it.
So I think the
And that's
difference
about how well I need it organized. And then, like, because of it, this stuff is sortable, and they do have tables.
So I think that's one of the reasons you like YWriter, right? Because when you put your character stuff in, then you're getting a table out of it. Whereas like the Scrivener character thing, which as noted here in the comments is called a character sketch in like the basic Scrivener program, it's really just a document that Scrivener put together that like they create as a template. So like no information ever goes into a column. And like for me, then I create my own. So like I just create a character template and I dump theirs. And then if I want to, you know, if I want a new character sheet, I just use my character template. But like, again, so that doesn't, like it's customized, which I like, but it doesn't get me a table, which you like. So, you know.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm totally gonna try this papyrus thing though, because I mean, especially if there's ebooks and such.
Yeah.
In the version.
And again, like I have no idea the quality of that conversion. I don't know.
But you don't need it to be extensive. You just need it to like break your stuff into chapters. Then you can do the coding and calendar.
Oh yeah. But like if it doesn't do anything more than Word does, then there's no value in it to me. And the same with like it's more like the paperback thing for me. Like if this is something where like I can skip the caliber step, or I can skip the entire nightmare that is processing a Word document in order to convert it into a PDF, that is fantastic. But we'll see.
Yeah, you know, I've recently started learning how to convert from InDesign to ebook, so that would take like this whole huge step of it out for me, and I don't even know how to handle that. Like I'm gonna like gain so much time not having to change my Scrivener files every time I do an ebook. But anyways. Yeah. So if you're using some other resource other than YWriter or Scrivener or Papyrus or Google Docs or Word, let us know. It's interesting to see.
What's the other one? There's another one too. Did you hate that? No, there are so many different ones. There is a new one.
There have been a few Scrivener competitors through the years that haven't really lasted.
The Wave, I feel like it's something Wave. If I remember correctly, it's entirely web-based.
Oh, okay. So Natalie and I are totally on the same page with this. I do this.
Wavemaker.
Wikipedias for my things sometimes. I'm creepy like that. Sorry, go ahead.
Wavemaker. That was the other. Yeah, that's the other one that I've heard of coming out recently. And it's, if I understand correctly, it's entirely web-based.
Wavemaker.
But I would think it would have to have an actual, like a program that you would download that would just sync to its web thing, I would guess. I haven't tried it. Like I looked into it once and poked around with it for like 30 seconds and I was like, this is not my jam.
They do not have quite the pictures of Papyrus, but they do have.
It's very pretty. But again, as evidenced by this conversation, pretty is not my focus. But I totally respect anybody who does want it to be pretty, because this is something that you're staring at for days of your life. So if you want pretty, by all means, take pretty.
Yes. We're at our next thing already.
Oh my God. I feel like we're just like on crazy rambles right now. Are we on crazy rambles, or are we actually saying anything of value? I don't know, but that's okay. Okay. So we are going to write for the next 30 minutes. We are on the hour right now, so we will see you guys at 1/2 the hour. Good luck.
Okay. We are back.
How's your editing? Did you finish that bit?
Yeah, and now I'm just on like the final thing, which is a poem I need to write as like one of my little ending things. So that's really good because that means that is like almost like it will have been. I can turn it over to an editor in September, like a
Yeah.
copy editor. So I'm really proud of that. What about you?
I finished that scene. I actually faded to black on a sex scene, and I don't know if I've ever done that before. No, I have. Never mind. I absolutely have. But like when it would have been like the 7th sex scene in that book, and so it was really redundant at that point. Andre and Imogen had a fade to black.
Andre and Imogen got a lot of sex. I get
Yeah, exactly.
It. Yeah.
It was like their 7th round, so it wasn't necessary at that point.
I had to do like a lot of fade to black in this particular novel. Like a lot of like, oh, this character's headed here. What?
And yours, you had to do a lot of fade to black.
Yeah, because I mean it's YA, right? So like,
yeah.
Like, there's only
I was just
so
sure
much.
What you're saying.
No. I appreciate that Alec is playing a new video game and editing. Alicia finishing up a character arc, yay. Spence with resting and meditating, yay. What else do we have here? Right with Melanie researching apps. We have Nikki with like reading book club, book educated. Oh, interesting. What are you reading right now, Chloe? Anything interesting?
Kind of. Not in like what I'm actually reading is interesting, but I am trying out Radish to see if it is a potential market for me to get into. It's really weird, and I feel like I could potentially put some stuff on there, but I don't know if it's worthwhile for me to pursue. So I read a couple of things on that yesterday. I started a couple of things. I should clarify because like it gets real expensive real fast.
Yeah, I've looked into Radish and I never feel like it's quite right for me because I also don't like reading there. But I don't know, and I do a lot of audiobooks. The last thing I read was actually a really good YA called Juliet Takes a Breath. It was written like a couple of years ago, but it's very in line with the times. Like if you're looking for some interesting YA, it's one of the good ones I've read recently. And I'm reading Cast right now, which is like depressing as hell, but educational.
I don't know what either of those are. So
Cast is it's not really a book on race. It's, I don't know. It's
really
non-fiction.
Nikki, ML is a municipal liaison, or in less fancy speak, it's just the regional director for her NaNoWriMo region. I normally say regional director if I'm not talking directly to nano people because municipal liaison is ridiculous.
And okay, I've got somebody else who just read Juliet Takes a Breath, by the way. Alicia just read it. So there's two little promos for that particular book. I don't know what got
somebody
me on
was
that.
saying they were reading, and you asked me what I had read, and I asked you what you had read.
Yes. I don't know. I mean, I always feel like, so most of the nonfiction that I read, I listen to because that's like the easiest way for me to make sure I'm getting in some reading time. And the YA I actually read with my eyes. And I've been so disappointed in some of the YA recently. And I feel like this doesn't happen in romance, right? Like when you're disappointed in romance, it's like, meh, another trope. Or like, meh, poorly written. Or like, I don't know, maybe just like, meh, totally unrealistic. or like, nah, I've just seen too many shifters.
Right. My meh is usually this author has written this exact same story so many times that even though I like the story, I know how it ends and I don't even care to see the ending because I already know. Even though like I read romance, so like it sounds like a ridiculous thing to say, but like there's that point where I feel like they rehash the same story so many times that you lose, like, all the characters just blur together and you lose any interest in those particular characters. Anyways, so that's the easy, like, whatever in romance, but YA.
It
YA
is
is
different.
like a dumpster fire if you don't like it.
Yes. Okay. It is totally dumpster fire in lots of ways, but there's also like a lot of interesting stuff. And like,
no. I mean, like when they're disliked, like what happens to that book when it is disliked is a dumpster fire. Yeah.
But it's a very interesting genre right now, right? Because like the fantasy stuff is sort of like all going off the rails. It's like all tropey, and it's tropey in like a social warrior justice kind of way. So you feel like you're getting like lectured, but you can't like you can't feel like that because you need it, right? Because like social justice matters, but then like also like why are we blogging in our YA fantasy books? It's very weird. But something like Juliet Takes a Breath, which is like contemporary, it's actually just like a really interesting coming of age story. And this one was a Puerto Rican lesbian goes to live with a white feminist in Portland who's just written a book about vaginas, and I think that explains enough, honestly. Yeah. Like I feel like that covers it.
It's funny because I was literally just talking to a coworker today. I don't remember how the subject came up. And this is funny because I still haven't figured out two of the factions, but we were just talking about Divergent. She had never read it. And I was explaining it to her. Like there was a point where I was like, actually, like despite the fact that like I'm using like terms like Hunger Games and Harry Potter to describe it, actually like it was very unique, and like everything that happened in it, the end was terrible in it. Like don't get me wrong, the end was a total disaster, but like how the whole concept worked was actually like really unique. And again, like you don't see that so much anymore in the fantasy side of things. I was like trying to explain the fact that like it's dystopian, but actually it turns out that it's just Chicago and it's not dystopian at all. Like it's only like it seems super dystopian, and then it turns out that it's only a little bit dystopian.
I mean, there have been some fantastic fantasy books that have come out after Divergent. You know, like the Divergent Hunger Game era sort of like sparked this whole thing. And then there's like a decade of fantasy books there where you can find some really good stuff. My Girl Pirates. Oh my God, I'm dying for that third
Girl Pirates.
Dying.
Yeah.
And
like meanwhile, we were also talking about Red Queen and the like trope nightmare that Red Queen was, where like I was discussing something with it and my coworker was like, no, wait, that was this other book. And I was like, no, that's actually both those books. Like, and like, it took us a really long time to figure out which one was which in that for her.
I'm like totally never going to manage to get past Red Queen. P.S. So Natalie knows that she's writing epic fantasy. Me too. YA epic fantasy right here. Totally talking about my own problems.
and mine are. When you say epic fantasy, I also do epic fantasy. I just do adult and romance still. So like epic fantasy is great, but it's, you know, it's rough waters in YA.
Good. Here's a recommendation for a YA. Sabriel's YA.
I've heard good things about that.
Yeah.
And I don't pay attention to YA, but I've heard good things about that one.
I'm trying to figure out. So Nikki mentioned a book as well at some point. Here we go. An author cheaper book, 100 Days of Sunlight. So there's another one that we could check out. Support your fellow authors. Also, I love your puppy, Nikki. Um, I don't know. I haven't read a lot of romance recently, though. I never read enough of it. It just
I read it because it's research.
it
It's
is. And
funny
it's
because I've been looking at a lot of my books lately, and like most of the books that I own, like the paper that is surrounding me right now, none of it's romance. I've got some romance behind me on those little shelves over there, but like the closest thing that I have to romance surrounding me, is Janet Ivanovich, which is not romance. There's just like a romantic arc in it. So, and then I guess I've got a couple romantic manga series next to me. So like, I'm not classically a romance reader, but like I have a full-time job, and also I published 6 books this year. And I'm really bad about like writing to market. So I have to read romance because I don't have a choice. Like I will never write anything to market if I don't read the market. And our writing schedule is we're just every Monday at 4 p.m.
Yeah, we do. We do have
right, Melanie. I'm sorry, a quick distraction. I just watched that movie a couple days ago. I was feeling sick, and it like popped up on my Amazon or whatever, whatever service it's on, and I was like, I'm gonna go watch that dumb movie again. And I watched it. I was like, yep, still dumb.
Are we talking about Janet?
Also, definitely, like the series peaked well beyond that first book. So like, it was never going. They were never going to be able to make a good movie out of it because they would have had to have made so many movies before it got really good and before like she hooked up with both Ranger and Minnelli. What is his name? Morelli. There we go. Morello.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I feel like you do.
She's a bounty hunter, but she has no idea what she's doing. Like she was a department store worker who lost her job and ends up being a bounty hunter. But like the 2 guys who are like her love triangle interest, which again is not like the main plot, it's the side plot, but it's a cop and a bounty hunter who's like the king bounty hunter. And they are hilarious. They're comedy. She's got like this crazy family. They have like a prostitute that works with them. She's got like a transgender friend who's out of control. Like it's just like it's a comedy series. It's hilarious. She has a pet hamster.
I wonder if Black Dagger Brotherhood will ever be made into a movie. I would totally.
They talk about it constantly, and I think it's actually been licensed, but it's never actually been touched. Like somebody owns the rights to turning it into like adapting it for film, but I feel like that happened years ago and they've never actually done it.
Man, somebody should go crazy with that. Nobody would be happy, but like everybody would also watch it. So,
I don't know if it would work because of how generic all of the characters are in it. And I'm not like, that is like the least mean thing. Like, I don't mean that in a mean way, but I feel like it's lacking things that it needs to be a movie or TV series.
That's why it's perfect because you lose like a month of your life to it, right, when you start. And then you realize that like the plot's kind of like not really like it's just a little like you're reading it, you love it, it's candy. But also
like, literally explaining about how like the first like 4 of the first 5 books are all like making the human immortal. Like, how are we gonna make this human immortal? How are we gonna make that human immortal? We'll figure it out. And then finally, Dr. Velociraptor, I can't remember his name, and ignore the fact that I call him Dr. Velociraptor, but he's like, you know what, I'm actually not gonna do this and I'm gonna remain human.
Yeah, but okay, because the plot is, a little loose. Some creative team could just go crazy with that. It would be amazing.
Yeah. It is 5:45 though. So it is for us to write. But Melanie, I could literally talk all day about how much I hate Black Dagger Brotherhood, and I've read every flipping book in this series, and I will never stop reading it. This is our last sprint, Nikki. So we're just gonna go 10 minutes, and that'll take us to almost the top of the hour. When we'll say goodbye to you guys. So we'll see you guys in 10 minutes.
we are back.
I
I finished my
apologize
project.
again for my timer freezing for like 5 minutes.
Oh, did it?
Oh, I have a weird delay.
Hopefully those of you who are with us just kept writing.
We've been on 8 minutes for a real long time now.
Oh. I think we have a weird delay going on here too. I'm not sure exactly where it's coming from, but like there's something interesting.
It's coming from me.
Oh, good. Okay, so. Whoa. Okay, yeah, and I think this is an important comment here about Black Dagger Brotherhood that we did not cover. Yes, Chloe.
Yeah.
What the?
Yeah.
Maybe
your book
she writes
for me.
I know, right? Like what's that's amazing.
I mean, her books are massive. I know that, obviously a bunch of you are not romance readers, and specifically not paranormal vampire romance. So just for the record, these books are enormous. It's like 500 pages in like a standard paperback. So it is a lot of words, but 60,000 is still ridiculous.
So somebody asked for a schedule. I think it was Nikki. So I'm going to post that in the comments. We do the same thing every time.
If we don't set a schedule, we will never do sprints. So we are very strict about our schedule, but also it makes sure that we get, what is that, 25, 55, 65, 75 minutes of writing in every 2 hours. I feel like that's pretty good.
Yeah. Some work, some co-working, and then hopefully those of you who are here get some done too. We've got some words here. People are getting words.
I got some words, and it's been a while. Like I have been having issues wording, so
yeah. And we have organization going on, we have reading going on, we have editing going on. It really does feel like a workshop today, right? Because we're all working on different little writerly things. Yeah, so awesome. So thanks everybody for joining us today. It is so much more fun when we have people to work with us and much more motivating. So we love that you're here. And we will be back next week at the same time in the same place. Probably also without a topic again, but we'll see what we can do. Right?
I mean, we did like stick to a topic for a while there.
We totally
did. Weird because I feel like it was just like a flyaway comment that then set up the next hour of chat. But
yeah, but I think, because we're both sort of like on like, let's just finish some projects right now, like
we very much are. Yes.
Yeah. We for a while we were doing like real intense things like grammar lessons and stuff, but like nobody was there at the time. So clearly they weren't.
Right. We were really teaching each other grammar. And also we were like not publishing hardcore either then.
Yeah, no, then once we started having to try to like get paid for this stuff.
Okay, once we had to actually learn like real stuff and not like high school grammar rules.
Yeah.
Shit got real.
All right. So I guess we should let everybody probably like get to whatever they have to do with their evenings or afternoons or wherever you are in the world. So thanks so much. And we will see you next week.
Yeah. Good luck and happy writing, everybody.
All right. Bye, guys.